Good afternoon. It's a little cool here in North Florida and rainy, so I'm in the garage today. Behind me is my 94 YJ Jeep. We've had several of them over the years, different years, CJs, JKs, but this is the only one we got left. We've had it probably, I don't know, 15 years now, maybe longer. I don't remember, but we enjoy it. But today I want to talk about putting in the work and also understanding that things ain't going to happen overnight for most people. Um, Abraham Lincoln once said, and I don't know the exact quote, but if somebody wanted me to cut down a tree, I'd spend 3 hours sharpening the axe. That's an old saying. I learned it back when I was in school from one of my teachers, but it kind of stuck with me. It's weird that I still remember that because when you think about it, if you're not putting in the work ahead of time, the job's going to be a lot harder. And I think that goes for most things in life. Preparation, understanding of what's needs to be done, um, working hard to get there. I think all that's important. And if you don't do that, usually the job that you're doing isn't going to come out very good, especially when you're a younger man. When you get older and have experience and have done a lot of things, sometimes you can wing it. But even then, you're going to run into trouble. Um, I have my son. He's 24. He's a police officer. But he's got a bunch of young friends, and since I'm retired from the agency that they're with, you end up around a lot of these kids, and even when he's in high school, and sometimes kids will ask you, how do I want to be successful? How do I get how do I get it together? Life's tough nowadays. It ain't like it was when you were a kid. Yeah, in some ways, but it wasn't easy when I was a kid. Nobody handed me anything. Everything I own, I bought. I didn't inherit anything. Um, my wife and I worked for it, and so they'll sit back and they'll see. We just put in a swimming pool, and I got a golf cart over there, and a Jeep, and a truck, and my wife's got it. But that stuff didn't just show up. I had to work for it, but it took time. Spent a lot of years driving crappy vehicles, and in order to, but in the end, I was able to get the things that I want. Um, I didn't go to the dealership and buy a brand new Ford Raptor. That's what I'd really like to have if I had the money. Still don't have one of those, but there are people, young people, that go do that. They'll spend 80, 100 grand on a truck, and they're 25 or 30 years old. And I don't get it. I don't get it. I've lived most of my life debt free or as close to it as could be, because I think that's important because it gives you the freedom to do things in life. You don't feel the pressure that a lot of people do. Um, you know, but I tell these kids, I say, you know what, you need to slow down, think about what you want, think about how you want to get there. No matter what it is, what you want to do. And I know police work. That's all I've ever done. I don't know computers. I don't know that, any other sales, things like that. I don't know. But there are people that do. And you can research it and figure it out and start out slow and work your way up to where you want to be. But you're not going to start at the top. And I think that's when people, you see a lot of young people today, and it sounds like boomer. I'm Gen X, but it sounds like boomer talk. Nobody wants to start at the bottom. Well, there's some truth to that. There's some truth to that. They want to live in the neighborhood their parents live in at 50, and that just ain't. That ain't how it works. My wife and I had a little crappy apartment when we were young. We drove crappy cars for decades. Um, I didn't have my first new truck until I retired from the sheriff's office, and then I had it about a year or two, and I sold it because I'm like, I don't need this. I mean, it's nice, but I ended up selling it and buying a 23 F-150. All right, 2013 F-150. Because I don't know, the cost of ownership of that thing and the depreciation. And I sold it during COVID, so I sold the truck I had for more than I paid for it. So you know, I didn't. Those things don't matter to me. Um, but I can afford it if I wanted to. I mean, I just don't want it. And I try to tell these kids that, you know, figure out what you really want in life, and it's probably not that truck. It may be, but it's probably not, because you'll get in that truck, and after the new car smell wears off, it's just another truck. So you get that. You work 2 or 3 jobs. You're trying to keep up with it. You can't enjoy it. Um, in police work, all these guys work all these off-duty jobs, um, to pay for bass boats, offshore boats, F-250s, Harley Davidsons, all fun, all great. But I decided when I started many years ago, that ain't me. I'm not working, being a slave to all that stuff that I own that you hardly have any time to use. That's just ridiculous. It makes no sense. That's what you want, that's fine. But um, I don't think things like that bring you happiness. I really don't. They're fun to use, but they ain't going to bring you happiness. They're not going to bring you peace. And to me, that's what I want, peace. I'm sitting in this garage with this cigar. Um, well, usually I'm drinking bourbon. Right now, I got this root beer. This is peaceful to me. And I think that's more important than stuff. Um, so these kids, they go, well, what can I need to work hard? What can I do to get where you guys are at? And I'm like, it takes time. What you need to do, you work, you figure out what you need to do, work towards your goal, but you also need to take time to relax, sit by a fire pit, smoke you a cigar if that's what you want to do, drink you a coffee, and relax, because that's part of it. That's part of the journey. If you make it all about the work and you're not taking time to learn the lessons along the way, none of it's going to stick. None of it's real. I think it's hard to, because I fell into that boat. I mean, I've always been like this. I was, because I've seen the people around me go the other way, but I did work pretty hard earlier in my life, and a lot of nights away, a lot of long days. Hell, when I retired, I had over a year's worth of comp time. So that tells you how much I worked, and I didn't take it off as much as I should have, especially with the kids and everything. Looking back, I probably should have done more of that, but I didn't do near as much as some people trying to pay for dues and all this other stuff people got. I mean, it's just, I didn't do that, um, which I'm glad I didn't. But you need to take time in your life, no matter how old you are, and just relax. Sit by a fire with your wife or girl or your friends or whoever brings you peace in your life. Um, Smoke you a cigar, have you a drink, a coffee, whatever you enjoy, and just spend time talking. Because if you spend every minute working and working, you work all day, then you work a second job, and then you come home and do this, and YouTube and or whatever people are doing, and driving DoorDash, and okay, some people got to do that to survive, but some people are doing it to pay for stuff that you don't need, and that's just ridiculous. That's just I don't understand that mindset. We have DoorDash, and I'm ashamed to say, but I'll order food every now and then, and people will show up in this brand new, fancy $100,000 vehicle to bring me my sandwiches or whatever. I mean, I'm not thinking to myself, what are you doing? What in the world? If that's what you want, then that's fine. But I can't see being a slave to that truck or that SUV or that Mercedes or whatever. People bring stuff in all kind of vehicles like that, and I'm like, they're probably working so they could pay the payments on that thing. And I've been in situations where we had the vehicles and kids came along, and when it came time, I go, this money's getting kind of tight, and I've sold stuff to make it more comfortable. I didn't work harder so I can keep it because it's just stuff. It's just stuff. Much as I love this Jeep right here, if things got tight for us, it can go. I enjoy it. We have fun with it, but it's not really bringing me peace. You know, it brings me some fun, and I enjoy working on it, but it doesn't bring me peace. Peace is when I'm sitting out by the fire with my wife or with some friends, and just enjoying myself, just spending time with them. Anyway, I hope this helps. I hope, think about it. If wherever you're at in your life, think about what you're doing. Think about what you spend your time on, and what you spend your time paying for. And when you look at that stuff, think about what's important to you. Is that truck that important? Is that Sea-Doo or that offshore boat or that Harley? Is that important to you? It may be, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. We're all different. All I'm saying is give it some thought. Think about what you're doing. Think about what you're spending time on. Think about where you put your money. Think about where you put your focus in life. Family, you can't, all this stuff can be replaced, but family is your most important thing. Your kids, your wife. I'm not even really talking about extended family. I'm talking about your family, your people. That they're going to be there through thick and thin. Friends and all these other people, they may or may not, but your family will be there if you were there for them. So think about what you're doing. I'm still new at this, so there'll be pauses and fumbles and stumbles, but I'm doing the best I can. Feel free to make some comments if you'd like, suggestions. I need to work on editing to make these move a little faster maybe, but we'll see where that goes. But I appreciate you stopping by, and let me know if you have any questions in the comments. And oh, by the way, if you're wondering, this is a Partagas Natamaya. Pretty good. I usually like darker Maduros, but this one ain't bad. Partagas Natamaya. Not a Mas, M-A-S. Anyway, y'all have a good day.